So this video that people is talking about, from one of the Christian networks. Now you have this gospel, Christian rapper named Lecrae. Anybody that's, know about him, that's in that field, that like Christian rap music, you know exactly who I'm talking about. So he's sitting there with these two other preachers and they're discussing the term white privilege. But I want you to listen to this one preacher and what he's saying. For me, it just sickened me to the core. And we need to have a conversation with black people just all the way around. But let's go ahead and roll this clip.
Those white people are just simply out of sight, out of mind. We're oblivious to it. Yeah. And we cannot let this moment pass.
Yeah, Lecrae, it's interesting because I feel like on the inside of the church, we're fighting this historical context you talk about. In other words, we love the blessing of the cross, but we don't love to sit in it and realize this is what God's asking me to do, to die to myself and to live for him, whatever context that's going to look like for me. But I want to flip that upside down because I think the other side of it is true with our nation's history. We understand the curse that was slavery, white people do, and we say that was bad, but we miss the blessing of slavery, that it actually built up the framework for the world that white people live in and lived in. And so a lot of people call this white privilege. And when you say those two words, it just is like a fuse goes off for a lot of white people because they don't want somebody telling them to check their privilege. And so I know that you and I both have struggled in these days with, hey, if the phrase is the trip up, let's get over the phrase and let's get down to the heart. Sure. Let's get down to what then do you want to call it? And I think maybe a great thing for me is to call it white blessing, that I'm living in the blessing of the curse that happened generationally that allowed me to grow up in Atlanta. And, you're talking about being 57. If you were 57, I can't imagine being that old, Dan, and being 57. But I've said to our church, Lecrae, a few weeks ago, when I was born, the day I was born on Boulevard at Georgia Baptist Hospital in 1958, black people did not have equal rights in this city.
So instead of calling it white privilege, you want to call it white blessing. Do you realize that that's even worse than saying white privilege? I mean, listen to what this guy was saying. He was basically saying that we dealt with a curse and our curse helped build up him and his people where he can have a privilege or quote unquote a white blessing. And then when he was born in 57 or whatever year it was, black people didn't have equal rights, and we still don't have equal rights now. You see, we really need to get back to talking about, the history and why they took away our African religions and spirituality and gave us a perverted version of Christianity. The reason why I say it's perverted is because the 10 Commandments does not support white supremacy at all. It doesn't support killing. White supremacy is built off of killing. It doesn't support stealing. White supremacy is built off of stealing. Some of the 10 Commandments doesn't support having any other gods before God, which you understand that the mindset and thought process of white supremacy, saying that I'm superior to you based on my color, is complete heresy against God himself. You understand? You can go through every part of the 10 Commandments. That's just a simple form that they couldn't even follow. So how could they say they quote unquote Christians and they couldn't even follow the 10 Commandments, then give it to you? Listen, they had our black brothers and sisters enslaved and telling you about the Bible. It's nothing that's going to say in the Bible to enslave people. And that's okay. Even in New Testament scripture, there's nothing out there to say it's okay to enslave people. It's nothing in the Bible to teach you to say it's okay to rape people, to sodomize people. Nothing in there to say that. That's complete sin and unrighteousness against God. So our people should have known to say, you know what? I'm not going to believe nothing you're believing. If your quote unquote God is okay with you enslaving my people, why would I believe anything that you say? Something is wrong here. And ever since us as black people accept it, because yes, somebody can give you something all day, doesn't mean you have to accept it. It could be like a person want to get you hooked on drugs. You don't have to take the drug or anything. So just because somebody give you something doesn't mean you have to accept it. But we accepted that, and what's the worst thing it did to us is made us docile. It made us just get in this mindset to say it's okay for them to be in a superior position in our mind, because you have to understand, yes, white supremacy is a construct, but reality speaking is nothing about them superior. Not a thing. It's not a thing. Unfortunately, we have assisted in keeping them in that position as black people, have assisted in putting money into that system, assisted in walking away from our businesses, walking away from everything that we have built to make them even better and above us, instead of keeping our money and everything that we have within our own community. We know we walk away from the Negro leagues, who was making more money than their Major League Baseball at the time. And we walk away from that to go play in their leagues. And now their leagues are better, and we don't even have a Negro league anymore. You understand? Our talent provides so much money for them, and that's how they stay above us. And then in these same leagues, even today, they won't even let a black man on the team in these same leagues that the black man built. Industries that black people keep going. So we have to also understand that we have an active participation in keeping them in a position where they at our own suffering. But when it comes to us accepting their belief system, it's been the worst thing ever to black people. And have you noticed the younger generation, they don't fool with their belief system? Have you noticed that? The younger generation are out there in the streets. The younger generation don't go to their church houses. And this is why you see in the younger generation turning things around, even on the continent of Africa. They have not accepted their perverted version of Christianity. They have accepted their white Jesus. And this is why you're starting to see black people turn around, because we're going back to who we really are. You cannot be free at all going into their church houses. I don't care if black folks running it, because they have always put a black preacher in position to keep you docile. If you remember the movie Birth of a Nation, the one by Nat Turner, what did they use Nat Turner for? Hey, go out there and calm them down, because they want to revolt. They want to do this and that and the third. It still has the same function today. Calm you down. Oh, well, we'll get there tomorrow. Oh, we got to have hope in God. When you get to heaven, that's when everything will be good for you. But yet the Mzungu have his heaven on earth while you suffering, you living in hell. You understand? And while we waiting on God, but God looking at you saying, I'm waiting on you. You do something about it. Why are you waiting on me? I gave you everything you need. You just got to have some courage and strength and take a stand. And the younger people today are saying, we're not going to play this game with them. See, this brother, and like I said, if he hear this video, he hear it. Lecrae, brother, how can you sit there and let that man say that in front of you? Yeah, I understand the previous conversations about you don't agree with the privilege aspect and all of that, but there ain't no way I've been sitting there bobbing my head. That man wouldn't have felt comfortable talking to me about that at all. Because I told him, if anybody has been a curse, it's been you. You've been the curse. Because look at the death and destruction historically that you caused and your belief system has caused. That's why you went into different countries all over the world talking about, I'm going to bring them Christianity. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. So how dare you say something like that? See, that's why most people don't talk to me. That's why you don't see me invited on no programs or anything like that, because I'm not going to let them get away with it. I'm going to tell them like it is. And these people, even mainstream media, all these major news networks, they know who I am too. MSNBC, CBS, all of them. They be over here watching. I see them. I even get their emails at times. Ask me about certain content. So they know who I am, but they don't want it. But they don't know. They know better. And that's good. Because they want controlled opposition, right? They want black people to go along to get along, and want black people to be in this system and thinking, well, we just need to go to church. Oh, we just need to vote. We just need to do, put all our faith and trust in the Mzungu. And when we don't do that, that becomes an issue and a problem. But this is the thing. I support black people 100% walking away from the system that kept us docile and destroyed, because it has. And this newer generation, they say they don't go to their church houses. They're not about to sit up here and give Ray of all his tithe money. See, that's last generation. I say my parents' generation is about the last group that's doing that. In my generation, and going to further back than that, I'm talking about as we go forward, we're not doing that. And we see the light. We don't want to take what you given our ancestors to keep them docile. No, we want freedom worldwide. And we know accepting what you say is keeping us there. Even on the continent, the most docile people I've seen in the African continent that I've seen being there is people that sit up there and believe in white Jesus. They are the ones. People that don't, the most turned up. There's a correlation with that. But leave me a comment, guys. Let me know what you think about this particular story. And like I said, the best path for us to be free is to walk away, completely walk away from what they gave us. Because like I said, their God says it's okay to enslave and kill. We don't want to be a part of no God like that. And that's not even God. That's Satan. We don't want to believe in Satan masqueraded as a Mzungu Jesus, right? That's not even the real one from the Bible.